Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, and welcome to another episode of Jacob Walks Over a Bridge. I'm Jacob. I'm currently walking over a bridge, and I must ask, what do you call travel between a state and the District of Columbia? And I'm asking this more as a kind of serious, kind of joking, because I don't really know. Because, like, when I go over the GW bridge in the city of New York, that's the city. I guess you would call that interstate travel because I'm traveling between two states. I'm traveling between New York and the other state. But as I actually, am I even on the bridge? I'm not on the bridge. Why did I think this was the bridge? Because it looks like a bridge. Alright, well, I'm in DC now, if you couldn't tell, and I guess I'm going to continue walking this way towards whatever the bridge is that I'm over here. I thought I was going to be walking over the bridge I walked over last time with Hoffman, but I mean, I intended originally to go to the bridge that I think I'm walking towards now, but the complexity of Riverside roads in this city led me astray further south than I would have liked. But I was like, oh, I'm by the Lincoln Memorial, I'm by the nice bridge that I walked over last time, I'll just do that. But then as I walked this way, which I thought was like maybe like a second, because it looks the same, both the entrance to this walkway I'm on now, or I guess it's like a sloping street down towards the other, or north towards the bridge that I'm walking towards now. Like they both this street and the bridge have these statues of people and horses. What makes it looks like it'd be like a twin bridge. But nope, this is just a regular street. So this is an episode of Jacob walks on the street along a river, not over a bridge yet. But back to my original question. If travel between states is interstate travel, what do you call a trail closed? I have no idea where I'm going. I guess I'm gonna cross, jaywalk here. I paused if only to watch the bike cyclist kick a gate. He's out of earshot now, I can talk normally. Kicked a gate just that way he could bike on the portion of the sidewalk that says trail closed. Trail closed over there too. I don't think I'm going over the bridge I thought I was going to go over originally. So now I'm going to go turn around, walk back up the street, and then cross the bridge that I originally, secondarily thought I was going to cross. What a day. It's also hot. I didn't think it was going to be this hot. I thought it was supposed to be cool down today. It was supposed to rain, at least, and that was supposed to bring cooler weather, but no, it's going to be hot. That's why I can't live anywhere south of, I don't know, south of Staten Island. Otherwise it just gets too hot. Built like a bear. I'm made for the long, cold winters of Eastern Europe. But I digress again. And now I must ask, what do you call the travel between DC and one of its neighboring states? If it's not interstate travel, what is it? Is it cross-district state travel? When I take the metro to Maryland, am I or I guess it's Virginia, where I think the half that's still DC, that because Virginia, I believe, was took back the portion of DC it gave. It was like, yeah, no, we're not giving this up. And Maryland was left with. That's why DC looks like a weird half square. I guess if you're traveling between the states, I don't even know if the metro might go to Maryland. I don't know. But what if it did, or if it does? What would you call it? No, it's not inter. Well, I guess the interstate goes through DC. Potentially, I don't have a map handy to confirm or deny that. This would be a lot easier if DC was just a state, which they're trying to do, which they should do. In my honest opinion, my humble opinion, whatever version of IMHO you want to subscribe to, I think everything should be a state. Puerto Rico, state. Guam, state. American Samoa, state. Unless they want to not be a state. I think that a country like the U.S. that prides itself on its history of shrugging off the shackles of colonialism of its own borders, I think it's a little hypocritical for it to then prance along and showcase its own collection of colonies. Calling them territories is just a nice way of saying colony. And I guess DC is just like if they were levels in the caste system of colonies, DC is like the top tier, but still not a full. Like a citizen of DC has fewer voting rights anyway than someone who lives across the Potomac. Oh, this is nice though. I guess doing this walk, you get to. Yeah, this is a nice riverside walk. It's like it's like a very long staircase, almost like stadium seating, down to the street and the river, but I'm staying up on top going towards the bridge still. But, like, let's say, for instance, if DC became a state, they'd have all the full representation in Congress, be able to, because they can't right now even make all of their own laws. They have to prostrate themselves to the whims of whoever's in Congress from the states, ask them to help them do their laws. This is not a great place to walk. I try not to make this too political of a show, but I guess just walking along the streets of DC, it just brings it out of me. I'm not necessarily super political in a sense that I'm not, volunteering for campaigns or even donating to campaigns. I vote every chance I get. Give me some local school election, I'm there. I love filling out Scantrons. I guess I'm part of the generation that just missed being able to pull the lever to push a pin through a piece of paper to vote. And I guess, depending on who you ask, this is better or worse. Okay, so now I'm on the bridge. Now, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I'm walking over a bridge. Interstate, cross-American travel. That's what I'm doing right now. But yeah, it's been proposed to me a couple times to move to DC for various reasons, and I've entertained it to a point. I've looked at what it costs to live here, especially last year in the wake of Poopgate when I was really considering moving anywhere. I even asked management at my company if they needed help in the London office. That'd be fun. Go back to London. But I was open to going most places, including to a point. I think I never seriously entertained the idea of moving anywhere other than New York. I mean, if work had said, yeah, we would love you to go to London, I think I probably would have done that. But much as I've been sold on the idea that moving to DC would be good for me, I don't know. I feel that, I mean, not that I'm bored in New York, but sometimes you just don't know what to do, and you just think that, oh, if I'm having these sorts of thoughts here, going to, like, what's there to do in DC that there's not to do in New York? The politics. I vote all the time, but I'm not super into politics. I don't know how I would deal if the only thing to do around here was to talk shop. Sorry, I'm yawning. I actually had coffee this morning. Stopped at a place for breakfast. It was a nice, one of the nicer spots. I guess now that I'm on vacation, so I'm treating myself. Instead of going to Starbucks and picking up, whatever that passes for an egg sandwich there, I went to an actual place where they actually cracked the eggs and made the grits, and I guess I'm far enough south that grits is on the menu, which is nice. I didn't have it so often when I was at school in Atlanta, but it's still nice to get some. And I'm in the South. I'm having my grits. But hotel living is a whole other story. I think growing up, I had the idea that you slept well in a hotel only because once upon a time I used to fall asleep much easier than I do now. It's, I slept okay, and I guess this is now my third night sleeping in a hotel, and I guess I was tired enough that I passed out probably around maybe 11:30, but then, and this was going to be the day that I could have slept in and not felt totally bad. I don't like to sleep in so much that I feel that doing so is a waste of a day. When the sun's out, I want to be out. I'm not up at the crack of dawn necessarily, but if it's 7:30, 7:45 on a nice day and I'm still indoors in bed, I don't know, I feel like a little bit of a waste. But once I was up probably, I guess I woke up a couple times last night, but woke up good around 7 a.m. and shortly after that in the room next to me, sounded older than a baby, but maybe a toddler, not old enough to talk yet. I don't know. Whatever the child was in the room next to me started shrieking, and I don't mean that like they were just crying loudly. This tiny human was going. That was a brief approximation of what it sounded like, what the tiny human sounded like, it being the shriek. Try not to say it for any living creature, but it was very loud. It was very loud, and if I had any... Oh, I'm getting a call. I will probably break this up. Hello? Yes. All right, thank you. I'll be there soon. Oh, awesome. All right, thank you. Bye. Oh, well, I guess that did... Well, okay, so I made the mistake. It took me, I guess, a second to think about it. I'm wearing my Apple Watch, and whenever I get a phone call, I'll get it, it'll buzz on the watch, it'll buzz on my phone. But if I hit to accept the call on the watch, the watch starts talking, and not through the phone. And the watch has a microphone, so it looks like Agent 99 and Get Smart talking to. I'm not talking to a shoe, but it feels like a secret agent. But I pressed that by mistake instead of pressing the talk on the phone. So instead of this recording being interrupted, I just talked on my watch. which is kind of weird because I'm wearing headphones now and it's loud because I'm on a bridge. So it was a little disorienting, and I wasn't able to hear it as well. I kind of was expecting to get this call because I checked into the hotel a little early. You know, if I'm waking up at 7 o'clock with a shrieking child and have to then decide what to do with the day, I had the option of either, you know, I don't have to check out till noon, so I could have gone out where the hotel I was staying at last night, because the book of rooms for the wedding this weekend the official bookings didn't start until tonight, and I didn't want to book an extra night at this hotel because the rate we got was very good. The rate that we avoided having to pay is not very good. You know, I mean, I guess I'm just not used to the lap of luxury, and I don't know if paying $500 for a night was worth it. It was not. I deemed it not worth it. So that was just the hotel saying that my room was ready. Because as I was saying, and my train of thought is just as good as it's ever been. The choice was to go walk out the hotel that I stayed at last night, find some food, and then come back to the hotel and then check out. Or do what I did now, which, you know, was it the right idea? I don't know. But I ended up leaving the hotel, checking a bag at the new hotel while I waited for them to have a room ready, which they're not going to have before 9, you'd think. Hotels don't often work like that, especially during a busy time like now. But that was them calling me to tell me that I had the room ready. So now I have to decide. I guess I'm nearing the end of the bridge. It's actually it's a nice sized bridge. It's not, it's not Queensboro bridge length, but it's much bigger than any of the bridges in Philadelphia. Now, if I had my way, I'd probably cross the other side of the bridge and then walk over the other side, and so that way I'm not just doing a 180 turn at the foot of the bridge, but I think I'm just doing a 180 turn because crossing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 lanes of traffic, not ideal, and I don't really necessarily feel like walking around the long, big, I guess it's not, the circumference is long, the traffic circle before me at the end of this bridge. Not ideal, especially because I now have a place to go and people to see. So yeah, I'm just turning around. Long story short, it's the story of my life. When I tried to go to the front desk to check in, they called this the big wedding, and I guess it is a big wedding. It's taking place at the hotel, so the hotel would be aware that there's a wedding going on there. And I guess if you've been working there long enough, I guess you have a gauge of how big weddings are. And I guess I haven't been in part of any of the planning for this wedding. I'm just part of the groomsmen's party. But I guess this is a big one, the big one. It's like once upon a time, part of a trip up to upstate New York, where before coming back, everyone on the bus had picked out what kind of Subway sandwich they wanted to get. And this was, my dad was one of the chaperones, so he and I drove to the Subway to get all of the orders of Subway for all the kids who were on the bus that made this trip. And when we went to go to the Subway to pick up the sandwiches that we pre-ordered, they're like, oh, the guys behind the counter said it was the order. I can only imagine Subway doesn't often get, I'm not going to say often. I'm sure, actually, and I've had catered Subway in Manhattan. That's the lap of luxury right there. Nothing better than a pre-made platter of Subway sandwiches with some cookies thrown around the edges. But when it comes to upstate New York, there's a Union Endicott. near Binghamton. They're probably not used to large orders, so when we had, I guess, I'm going to guess 50 to 60 orders of sandwiches. That was big enough to be the order. I guess this wedding is the big wedding. I have to imagine that this is probably not the biggest wedding this hotel has ever had. Maybe in the scope of, COVID-19, shutting a lot of things down and whatnot. This is a big wedding. Probably the biggest I'm gonna go to for a while. Will comparatively be a intimate affair coming up next month. Same place, well, relatively the same, but it's up in Maryland proper, in the orbit of DC. Instead of having a fancy wedding at a fancy hotel, it's going to be a nice wedding at a nice synagogue. It'll be interesting to make those comparisons as we go. Don't know if I'll be there to record any episodes. Don't know if we're going to be over many bridges or I'll have enough free time to go off on any adventures solo. Going with the fam, so what the fam wants to do, the fam gets to do. And walking over a bridge with no shade in the middle of summer, they are not always on board with that. We've done that once. Up in Poughkeepsie, Poughkeepsie, they've got a very nice pedestrian bridge that goes over the Hudson River. Nice view. Former railroad bridge that they've turned into a trail, including the bridge. It's always nice to go on. I only did it once, and it was really hot, really sunny, and my mother, who is, just say she doesn't have much melanin in her skin, burns very easily, so that was not fun for her. Even now, I feel that, I probably should have applied some more sunblock. So the bridge I'm walking on now, it's bright and sunny. No, it's not like a bridge in New York where you have the large steel beams going up for the suspension bridge. Most bridges are there. This is, they've got some side marble pillars that go up 5 feet, I want to say. I could rest my chin on it. But it's not, definitely not New York. If I jumped off this bridge, there's a good chance I'd survive. It's low-ish. I guess you don't have the large ships coming into the port of DC. I don't think there really even is a port of DC. I guess if you're just sailing along the Potomac, you're not going to get the big ships. I had coffee, but I'm still yawning. I get coffee doesn't even really do that much for me. I don't know. There's iced coffee. I think hot caffeine is supposed to do more than cold caffeine. I don't think so. Maybe that's tea. Or maybe I'm just thinking about if you have a cold, it's better to have a hot beverage than a cold tea. I don't know. I just drink water all the time. I think after I'm done with this walk, I'm going to have to take a sip. I'm getting hot. I'm getting thirsty. Just been talking to myself for 24 minutes now. But I used to think that I'm not a skinny guy, I'm not a fat guy, but I've got some heft and even growing larger. But growing, when I go out with coworkers and have a drink or two, 1 or 2 drinks never really affected me. I just thought, I'm a bigger guy, so higher tolerance, and that's all. And I drink something caffeinated, and I wouldn't really feel the effects of it. Now, though, that's changed with alcohol, at least. And now, just one drink and I'm out. Not out, but I feel it. Lost all tolerance. But caffeine, I don't know. It still hasn't really. I I just had a iced coffee tasting. It's just like today's going to be probably a busy day, long day. Good to have some extra energy. Who knows how I'd be, maybe I'd be yawning even more now if I hadn't had that glass of iced coffee at the nice restaurant I treated myself to. Ooh, that's a little helicopter. Those are the things you see around here. Looking forward to rubbing elbows at this wedding. Don't know who's going to be coming, but we shall see. I don't know if Obama's going to be there. I don't know. Hoffman knows some people, but I don't know if he knows all of them. He knew enough people to get us a tour of the White House. Well, I guess that was also just through his job. He was able to do that when he was working for the White House. But I always kind of imagine walking along the streets of D.C. here. Sometimes there's you can see some government cars drive by and fantasize about having one of them just pull over, just like, get in, we need you, this is a matter of national security. And they drive me to some discreet location, and all they need from me is to tell the difference between that and which is probably what I'm best suited to do to help my country. There's not much else I really can afford them other than meat shield. So happy I've avoided the draft the long way around. I think technically it goes until you're 40, but I think the main portion of the draft is 26. So I was able to avoid it the long way around. Until I get recruited by the NSA to be a editorial analyst fighting crime through grammar, I think this will be a good time to sign off, because I have once again left the confines of the bridge, back where I started. So from all of us at Jacob Walks Over a Bridge, let me be the first and only one to say good day and good night.